What if you could save humanity with just a wicked grin and a sharp wit? Imagine the adrenaline as a lone soldier faces an insectoid alien menace, relying on mental prowess and sardonic remarks to keep the galaxy's deadliest invaders at bay. When you think it can't get any more intense, remember the most dangerous weapon isn't always a gun. Stay tuned to see how a strong mind can turn the tide of an interstellar war, leading to an ending that will make you laugh and gasp in awe. Curious? You should be. Leo. Drake leaned against the railing of Station Athena, observing the bustling crowd below. Traders, diplomats, and spacers moved in a frenetic dance of commerce and politics. Above them, the domed ceiling displayed a false but beautiful holographic night sky. Ah, the galaxy's finest circus, Leo thought to himself, smirking at the absurdity of it all. Leo was dressed in casual attire, blending in perfectly. His mind, however, was a storm of dark humor and calculated readiness. Suddenly, the station's alarm blared, and the crowd's hum turned into a cacophony of panic. "Attention! Dergol Collective Fleet detected. All personnel, brace for impact." The robotic voice barely finished before a violent shudder rocked the station. Leo pushed off the railing, his expression shifting to one of grim determination. "Time to shine," he muttered under his breath. He made his way through the panicking crowd, his demeanor paradoxically calm. His dark eyes scanned the chaos for an access terminal, locating one near an emergency exit. He activated Eloise, his holographic AI assistant, who flickered to life nearby. In normal mode, she was stoic and efficient, perfect for the situation. "Eloise, status report," Leo commanded, his voice steady. "Dergol Collective deploying boarding ships. Infiltration imminent," Eloise replied, her holographic form cool and impassive. Leo chuckled dryly. "Looks like our guests are a tad more aggressive than usual. Let's make them feel welcome." As he spoke, a section of the station's wall exploded inward, and the insectoid forms of Dergol warriors swarmed through. Leo ducked into an adjacent passageway, narrowly avoiding the debris. "Was that their version of a doorbell?" he quipped, adrenaline coursing through him. A group of human security officers appeared, already engaging the Dergol. The ensuing battle was fierce, the air filled with the stench of burned metal and ozone. Leo, out of sight, assessed the situation. He needed to get to the power core, his mind calculating the best route. "Eloise, plot a path to the core," he ordered, his voice a low growl. "Plotted. Be advised, multiple Dergol units between current location and objective," Eloise informed, her voice devoid of emotion. "Of course there are," Leo replied dryly. "Wouldn't have it any other way." He moved with purpose, his dark humor a shield against the grim reality. As he advanced, he encountered pockets of resistance, both human and Dergol. His psychic ability lay dormant for now. He was biding his time, waiting for the right moment. Rounding a corner, he stumbled upon a small squad of humans pinned down by Dergol fire. Without hesitation, he joined the fray, his movements fluid and precise. His dark eyes locked onto the enemy, and with a sardonic smile, he unleashed a fraction of his psychic power. The result was immediate and devastating. Dergol soldiers crumpled, their minds unable to withstand the assault. One of the human soldiers, a young woman with wide eyes, stared at Leo in shock. Who are you?" she managed to stammer. "Just a humble exterminator," Leo replied with a grim smile. "Now let's keep moving. We have a station to save." They pushed forward, the human squad now looking at Leo with a mix of awe and suspicion. As they traversed the station's labyrinthine corridors, Leo's mind churned with dark humor and tactical calculations. Every step brought them closer to the power core, and the stakes grew ever higher. He could feel the shifting energy, the mounting tension as the Dergol pressed their attack. But with every sardonic comment, every darkly humorous insight, his psychic power grew stronger. The Dergol underestimated humanity, and Leo was about to show them just how deadly that mistake could be. "One more corner, and we're there," Leo announced, his voice carrying a weight of impending doom cloaked in dark humor. "Hope you all like fireworks." The human squad exchanged nervous glances, but followed him resolutely. Leo paused at the final door, his hand hovering over the controls. "Showtime," he muttered, a dangerous smile playing on his lips. As the door slid open, revealing the power core room crowded with Dergol, Leo stepped forward. "Hey, Bugs!" he called out, his voice echoing through the chamber. "How about a light show to remember?" The room fell silent for a heartbeat, the Dergol turning to face him. Leo's mind darkened with anticipation, his psychic power ready to unleash. The real fight was about to begin. Leo took a step forward, feeling the oppressive heat of the power core thrumming through the room. The Dergol warriors hesitated for a moment, their dark, multifaceted eyes assessing him. Leo's dark humor bubbled up, and he couldn't resist. "I hope you all brought sunscreen. It's about to get hot in here." The Dergol leader, a towering brute with razor-sharp mandibles, growled in their guttural language, and his subordinates charged. Leo unleashed a psychic blast, sending the frontliners sprawling. His human allies opened fire, the room erupting in a chaotic brawl of plasma bolts and telekinetic waves. Leo moved with predatory grace, his mind weaponized by his grim humor. A Dergol soldier lunged at him, claws outstretched. Leo sidestepped, letting the alien crash into a console. He leaned close and whispered, "Wrong turn, buddy." Eloise's holographic form flickered beside him. "Leo, power core is destabilizing. We have limited time." Her voice was flat, clinical. "Got it, Ellie," Leo replied, ignoring the nickname's absence of affection in the AI's usual manner. "Just keep these bugs off my back." As the core's hum grew louder, Leo's human squads struggled to hold their ground. "Captain Reynolds, flank left! Jen, cover the rear!" Leo barked out, his leadership cutting through the chaos. Reynolds, a grizzled veteran, nodded and shifted his men, firing a steady barrage at the Dergol. Jen, the young woman from earlier, dropped back and covered their retreat with sharp precision. She spared Leo a glance, her face pale but determined. "What's the plan, Drake?" Leo grinned, feeling the dark energy of his humor fuel his psychic power. "Plan? I thought we'd wing it. Seems to be our specialty." Jen gave a small, reluctant laugh amidst the horror. Leo could see the toll this was taking on them all, but his dark humor was a necessary shield. It kept fear at bay for both him and them. The Dergol leader's bark made Leo's blood run cold. Behind him, a squad of Dergol technicians began rigging explosives around the core. "Oh, they're playing dirty. I respect that," Leo muttered. He surged forward, his mind lashing out with another wave of psychic energy. The Dergol were thrown back, their explosives half set. Eloise's voice cut through his focus. "Leo, detonation is imminent. We need to neutralize those charges." "On it," Leo replied, his tone unwavering. He advanced, his dark humor bubbling beneath the surface, ready to burst forth. "Hey, you ever hear the joke about the bug in the laser core?" A Dergol technician turned, just in time for Leo to send a psychic shockwave that fried the alien's mind. Leo moved to disarm the bombs, fingers dancing over the alien technology. "Eloise, give me a hand here." Eloise's holographic form began to interface with the core's systems. "Assisting now. Disruption sequence activated." Her efficiency was a stark contrast to Leo's dark humor, but he needed both to survive. As the final charge was disarmed, Leo breathed a sigh of relief. "And that, my bug-eyed friends, is how you fail a blitz." Sweat dripped from his brow, but he couldn't afford to rest. Reynolds and Jen regrouped with him, their faces etched with exhaustion. "What now, Drake?" Reynolds asked, his gruff voice betraying a hint of respect. Leo's dark eyes scanned the room, the bodies, the chaos. "We hold this position. Send a message to the rest of the station. The bugs aren't invincible. We push them back, sector by sector." Jen nodded, steel in her gaze. "Got it. Let's show them what humans can do." Leo's grin was sardonic, his humor never far from his lips. "That's the spirit. Let's turn this nightmare into their worst day ever." As they fortified their position, the hum of the power core a steady backdrop, Leo's mind churned with strategy and dark humor. The Dergol had underestimated them. In the dim, strobing light of the power core, Leo knew one thing for certain: humanity wasn't done yet. Leo stood by the power core, feeling the vibrations through his boots. The station was wounded, but not defeated. He could sense the Dergol regrouping, their dark energy swirling in the corridors. Leo cracked his neck and turned to his ragtag team. "All right, troops, time to play offense," he said, eyes glinting with determination. Captain Reynolds leaned against a wall, catching his breath. What's the plan then? We're running low on everything. Leo grinned. Improv, Cap. It's a human specialty. Eloise, you got our next move? The holographic AI flickered to life beside him. Durgal forces are concentrating around the central command hub. Disrupting their control there would significantly weaken their coordination. Like chopping off the snake's head. I like it, Leo replied, his tone laced with dark humor. He glanced at Jen, who was checking her ammo count. You ready for a little walk in the park? Jen nodded, her face pale but resolute. Just lead the way, Drake. As they moved through the station, the damage became more evident. Walls scorched black, debris scattered, yet the station's inherent beauty flickered through the destruction. And they called this place Athena, Leo thought, goddess of wisdom, defense, and, well, this isn't our finest hour. But maybe it could still be, he decided. Turning a corner, they encountered a Durgal patrol. Plasma bolts screamed through the air. Leo's squad ducked behind cover. With a sly grin, he raised his hand and sent a ripple of psychic energy. Durgal's soldiers stumbled, clutching their heads. One hapless Durgal turned its multifaceted eyes on him, confusion evident. Leo winked. Mind over matter, Bug. Reynolds and Jen opened fire, quickly taking advantage of the alien's disarray. Within moments, the Durgal lay sprawled, lifeless. The human squad advanced with grim determination. Eloise materialized beside Leo, her voice cutting through his dark thoughts. We're approaching the central hub. Be prepared for significant resistance. Significant resistance? I call that breakfast, Leo said with a smirk. Ready, team? They nodded, nerves frayed but bolstered by Leo's bizarre blend of humor and confidence. The central hub loomed ahead, massive doors sealed tight. Leo's mind buzzed with anticipation. Eloise, do your thing, he whispered. Eloise interfaced with the door controls, holographic digits dancing over the console. Accessing, be prepared for immediate combat. The doors slid open with a groan, revealing a room packed with Durgal soldiers and officers. For a moment, both sides froze, staring. Leo broke the silence. Hey there, Bugs. Anyone order a punchline? Chaos erupted. Leo's psychic blasts rippled through the air, mixing with the sharp bursts from his squad's weapons. The Durgal counterattacked, but Leo's squad held their ground, fortified by their leader's dark humor and relentless drive. In the midst of the battle, Leo locked eyes with a Durgal officer, a scarred brute who radiated malevolence. The alien charged, mandibles gnashing. Leo stepped forward, his psychic energy coiling like a spring. Let's dance, he growled, releasing a concentrated burst. The officer was thrown back, crashing into a control console. But the fight wasn't over. More Durgal poured into the room, doubling down on their assault. Leo's mind whirred with strategies and sarcastic quips. Ever feel like the universe has it out for you? Reynolds, taking cover beside him, panted. Could use a new trick, Leo. Leo's grin widened. All right, time for the grand finale. With a deep breath, he channeled his darkest humor into a massive psychic wave. The room shimmered with energy as Durgal soldiers fell, clutching their heads in agony. The remaining Durgal began to retreat, their morale shattered. Leo's squad watched in awe as their foes fled. Leo leaned against a console, catching his breath. And that's why you don't crash a human party. Jen approached, wiping soot from her face. We did it. What's next? Leo's dark eyes sparkled with grim satisfaction. Next, we kick them off our station entirely. This is just the beginning. Eloise flickered beside him, adding, enemy forces are regrouping. We should strike while they're disorganized. Leo nodded, feeling the weight of the station around him. You heard the lady. Let's finish this. The squad moved out, their steps steady, their resolve unwavering. Leo knew the real battle was still ahead, but with a dark smile, he welcomed it. Humans had been underestimated for too long. It was time to show the galaxy their true strength. Leo led his squad through the labyrinthine corridors of Station Athena, the lights flickering intermittently, casting a cloak of tension over every step. The air was thick with the remnants of battle, plasma burns, the metallic tang of blood, and the acrid scent of fear. But beneath it all, Leo felt a surging determination, a dark fire stoked by every dry smirk and sardonic comment he conjured. We're nearing the command center, Eloise informed, her holographic eyes scanning the path ahead. Perfect, Leo muttered. Time to deliver a special kind of message. Jen, positioned just behind him, asked, "What kind of message?" Leo paused, his grin widening. "The kind that says we're not your average bugs." As they approached the massive doors of the command center, the hum of machinery and muffled voices seeped through. Leo knew the Dergol were behind those doors, plotting their next move, confident in their superiority. Little did they know their underestimation was about to be their undoing. "Eloise, open sesame." "Oh," Leo whispered. Eloise interfaced with the door controls, and the colossal doors groaned open. The scene revealed itself in stark contrast. Dergol officers huddled around a holographic map, their insectoid forms silhouetted against the high-tech backdrop. Leo swaggered in, hands at his sides but ready. "Surprise, bugs! Thought you'd seen the last of us?" The Dergol whip-smart reactions belied their surprise. Orders were barked in their guttural language as they scrambled. Leo's squad surged in behind him, weapons blazing. The command center transformed into a war zone, laser bolts slicing through the air. A Dergol officer, larger and more menacing than the rest, stepped forward, flanked by guards. Leo locked eyes with him, feeling the psychic tension. "You must be the head honcho," Leo said with a dark chuckle. "Mind if we cut in?" The officer hissed, baring jagged mandibles. The guards lunged. Leo's squad took them head-on, the air crackling with energy. Leo faced the officer, his mind sharp and deadly. "Time for a little mental gymnastics," Leo said, unleashing a pulse of psychic power. The Dergol staggered, their collective mind reeling from the assault. But the officer resisted, pushing back. Leo felt the strain, but welcomed it. His dark humor bubbled up, fueling his power. "Ever hear the one about the overconfident alien?" The officer snarled, a mix of rage and confusion. Leo pressed harder, his psychic energy slicing through the officer's defenses. Around him, his squad fought valiantly, pushing back against the Dergol. Reynolds and Jen were beacons of resilience, their attacks precise, their movements synchronized. Eloise's voice cut through the chaos. "Security reinforcements en route, minimal time remaining." "Just what I needed," Leo muttered. He poured his remaining strength into a final psychic blow. The Dergol officer crumpled, his resistance shattered. The ripple effect cascaded through the ranks, disorienting the others. Jen approached, weapon raised. Is it over?" Leo, panting but not beaten, shook his head. "Not yet, but we just made a serious dent." Reynolds gave a weary but appreciative nod. "You have a way with words, Drake." "Comes with the territory," Leo replied, pushing a strand of sweat-drenched hair away from his face. He turned to Eloise. "Status? Enemy command is in disarray. They are attempting to regroup," Eloise reported. "Then we don't give them the chance," Leo said. He faced his squad, their faces mirroring a mix of exhaustion and hope. "We push forward. We finish this. For Athena. For every soul on this station." His squad rallied, their determination renewed. As they stormed out of the command center, Leo couldn't suppress a final grim chuckle. The corridors echoed with the clash of battle, but Leo's mind was sharp, focused. Every step drove them closer to victory. The Dergol had underestimated humanity. That mistake would be their downfall. "Let's light up the galaxy," Leo whispered, his voice a promise of relentless defiance. Leo's squad pressed on through the dim, battle-scarred corridors of Station Athena. The air was thick with tension, every shadow a potential threat. Despite the relentless march of combat fatigue, his dark humor kept their spirits buoyed. Each quip and sardonic grin was a lifeline. "Eloise, what's our status?" Leo asked, his tone half serious, half mocking. The AI flickered to life beside him. "Final Dergol forces are fortifying the docking bays. They intend to cut off your escape routes and regroup for a last stand." "Ah, the old cornered rat strategy. Classic," Leo muttered. He looked at his squad, who were battered but not broken. "We catch them by surprise, hit them where it hurts. Ready?" Reynolds wiped sweat from his forehead, his resolve unwavering. "Lead the way, Drake." Jen checked her weapons charge, glanced at Leo and nodded. "Let's finish this." They moved through the corridors, their steps echoing in sync. The docking bays loomed ahead, their stark metal frames contrasting against the sleek, cold design of the station. Leo could feel the collective tension of the Dergol, like a storm building. Suddenly, the station's lights flickered. A deep, rumbling growl reverberated through the walls. The Durgal had begun their counterattack, shaking the very core of Station Athena. Leo's dark eyes flashed with grim amusement. Looks like they're trying to rock the boat. Can't let them think we're seasick. They burst into the docking bay, meeting a hail of plasma fire. The Durgal were entrenched, their defenses formidable. Leo sensed the fear in his squad, but also their determination. "Stay low and keep moving," he shouted over the din. "Reynolds, take left. Jen, right. Eloise, find me a weak spot in their defenses." Reynolds and Jen moved swiftly, flanking the Durgal positions. Leo advanced through the center, his psychic power coiling like a predator ready to strike. The Durgal were relentless, their dark eyes fixated on the human intruders. Eloise's voice cut through the chaos. "Leo, there's a structural vulnerability near the main control console. Exploit it, and their defenses will collapse." "Music to my ears, Ellie," Leo grinned. "Time to give them a headache they won't forget." He raised his hand, focusing his dark humor into a concentrated psychic blast. The energy surged forward, striking the control console. Sparks flew, the Durgal scrambling to contain the damage. Leo's squad pressed the advantage, their combined firepower decimating the alien ranks. The tide was turning. Leo felt the shift in momentum, the Durgal's confidence wavering. He felt a surge of vindication, cloaked in his usual dark humor. "Hey, Bugs, missing your flight? Let me help you pack." But the Durgal leader, a massive beast with a scarred carapace, remained resolute. It bellowed in its harsh tongue, rallying the remaining troops for a final desperate charge. Leo met the leader's eyes, a predatory gleam in his own. "You and me, Bug. Last dance." The leader lunged, a blur of claws and rage. Leo sidestepped, his movements fluid. He channeled his psychic energy, matching each attack with a counterstrike of dark mental force. Around them, the sounds of battle faded, becoming a distant roar in his ears. The leader struck, its claws grazing Leo's side. Pain flared, but he used it, letting it fuel his resolve. He focused all his dark humor, all his sardonic defiance, into one final, devastating blow. The air rippled with psychic energy, the leader's mind crumbling under the assault. The aliens staggered, collapsing into a lifeless heap. The remaining Durgal, seeing their leader's fate, retreated in disarray. Reynolds and Jen regrouped with Leo, their faces a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. "We did it," Jen breathed. Leo, clutching his side, gave a grim smile. "Not bad for a bunch of primitive humans, huh?" Eloise's holographic form shimmered beside him. "Enemy forces are in full retreat. The station is secure." Leo leaned against a console, feeling the weight of the battle lift. "Good. Now we rebuild, stronger than before." Reynolds clasped Leo's shoulder. "You let us through, Drake. Couldn't have done it without you." Leo tilted his head, a dark grin playing on his lips. "Just another day at the office. Who's up for round 2? As the dawn of a new day broke over Station Athena, Leo knew their fight wasn't over. But with his dark humor and indomitable will, he was ready for whatever came next. Humanity had shown its strength, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again.